Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video today to talk about the iFlight Defender 25 that was just released. I even had to release a statement on our Team iFlight FPV group on Facebook because there were some rumors and stuff going on, and I thought, okay, let's talk about it on a video. And I will read off my text I wrote there to just remember initially what I had in my mind. And the first thing was, it's not a DJI avatar. It's not the same, and we don't need a second avatar. It's just a different drone class. It's self-flying, self-leveling, return home feature, GPS, remote ID if you want, and which is not a good thing actually, but it's not a DJI drone. So you can't expect that long flight time. We don't have that position hold feature built in the Defender because we're using Betaflight, right? And Betaflight is not that autonomous. There would be the iNav firmware if you want your drone, for example, to stop in midair. I heard that some people flying FPV cinelifters, for example, started to use that firmware because it's just simple and easy. If you get off the sticks, you have to talk to someone, you have to wait for someone, you have to wait for the model, for the car, whatever you're shooting, you can just flick a switch and it's waiting in the air. If you have a failsafe, it stops. And that's what Betaflight at this point in time is not able to do. And neither does the Defender 25 have the GPS module built in. That decision was made to basically stay below the 250-gram limit. So there's more freedom to use it. You know, there's some countries, some areas where we have this threshold, and people want to stay legal. Let's say most people want to stay legal with their drones and where they fly, and that just makes it easier. And therefore, there's also two batteries available. The first one would be the 550 milliamp battery, which you can stay below that 250 grams. And the 900 milliamp battery will be exceeding that weight. I think it's about 280 grams, just exceeds by a little. But point of this drone was to stay light. The whole construction, starting from the frame, the motors, also the antennas, which are now inbuilt. It's not those simple SMA antennas like we had before, or we've been used to before. Now we got PCB antennas, which are easier to produce, and not only cheaper, but easier to produce in terms of you get a better performance because those PCB antennas get designed once and then it's just reproducible to keep the same quality and the same RF performance with every single PCB or every single antenna that goes onto that loop, which you don't have with normal omnidirectional antennas that are sometimes soldered, that are sometimes a little bit difficult to produce, and you have some variants. And if you buy really good antennas or some brands that are more expensive, you can already guess that those antennas have been hand-tuned. And so iFlight decided to make these PCB antennas, which are light, cheap, easy to replace, not that often broken, because if you crash, the first thing that usually goes is the antenna, right? And since everything is inside the plastic frame, it's just so much lighter, so much better, so much cheaper, which also decreased the price of the drone itself. The other thing is we reduced weight of our motors. We didn't use the ProTech 25 motors or ProTech 25 pusher motors that we had before. Also not the same KV. We lowered the KV because of the lower weight we have with our Defender 25. We could reduce KV, and that also reduced, or actually increased, it reduced the power draw and increased the efficiency. So that power to weight ratio is actually better than we had with our ProTech 25. The ProTech 25 was pretty heavy with that duct. It was designed for not only beginners, but I would say it's not it's not a high performance drone. It's more like a crash it and it still works drone that can be used by beginners and also more professional people if you want to fly a naked GoPro, for example. But it was never meant to be a high performance quad. Now with the Defender 25, the focus was on higher performance and longer flight times. So we designed the whole quad for performance and for little weight. And for that reason, a lot of parts changed coming from a Protect 25 pusher now to that Defender 25, which also included a battery design. We have now a battery encasing that is not just for protection or for the looks, for the design, but it's also because we can produce better batteries for cheaper that are also easier to use and easier to install. They have a quick release plate. I don't have my prototype here yet. I will get it next week, I think, so I can show you some videos and introduce that quad with the actual thing in my hand. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands what this Defender 25 was actually made for. So we have this encased batteries. It's not proprietary. We can call it proprietary if you want, that just iFlight is using it. I think that would be the correct word for it. But there's also the option to use normal 450 to 1100 milliamp batteries to plug in straight into the XT30 plug that is in the back of the quad. That's secured like with all newer iFlight drones, so it's not dangling around with a cable. And that makes it easy for the, as I said before, the encased iFlight battery, that quick release battery, because it includes that XT30 plug and you just push it down. So it's a quick and easy change that also goes onto a charging plate with detailed instructions, with how many amps you charge, how many S you charge. So for that charger, you plug that battery charging plate in. Everything is written on. It makes it just simpler for beginners to start with and for everybody to use it actually, because you just have an instruction right in front of you that you can just set your charger on. So there's this thing. I know some people were scared of having batteries that are just for this particular iFlight drones and all the batteries can't be used. No, that's not like this. It's your personal decision, or every customer's decision. If you want to use that solution, like DJI is doing, like any other, let's stay away from drone manufacturers. There's batteries for different devices and they have a different size. They have sometimes a different housing and that just fits in that device because it just makes it easier, right? And that was the idea behind that, not to make something that's only proprietary for iFlight and that you kind of are forced into that ecosystem. That was not the idea behind that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the O3 camera, which is, it makes the price a little bit higher because people were complaining about the price is too high. But since we are in this chip crisis and it's still going on, and also now the situation in China with COVID, it's not done yet. There's a new outbreak ongoing right at this point in time. Everything got more complicated, everything got more expensive, and that also now raised the product price. But with the O3 camera, if you compare O3 BNF and the Calyx Vista or Calyx Polar before, it's in a different price league. But what you're getting is a camera that can record up to 4K 120 frames per second. So if you're one of those pilots that always use the GoPro to record their flights wherever, you basically now have a GoPro. The O3 camera, so not the VTX, the video transmitter module, but the camera of the DJI O3 system has a gyro installed. You can also stabilize with the gyro data. There's an inbuilt EIS, electronic image stabilization, which which DJI calls rock steady. It's working if you make sure that the camera is damped. And we installed the camera in a cage, into a protection cage for the lens, but also tighten that with silicone. So it's silicone damped, where with a 2.5-inch quad or whoop, you don't have that much vibration as on a 5 or 6 or 7-inch, but you still need that silicone to make sure that the gyro data that gets recorded, that's used for either the inbuilt image stabilization from DJI or for any other software like GyroFlow, where you do it in post on your computer, can read that gyro data, mix it, synchronize that with your video data, and then you get a smooth video. So that's implemented. That's why I was just coming from the price. The price might be a little higher with the O3 camera or the O3 system installed, but it's totally worth it if you just have no GoPro extra that you can either break, or some people would even need to buy it. Full GoPro, the original, even the small GoPro, the new one, the GoPro Hero 11 Mini, is just too heavy for a normal 2.5-inch quad. You can carry it, but the power will be really bad. It's just not made for that weight. You can't do freestyle, you just cruise, and the flight time and distance, it won't be particularly good. So it's a new step. I think it's a progression for people to record their stuff. The DJI O3 system, I have another video, or a couple of videos actually on my channel, where I show the dynamic range of that camera, which is not that good. I wouldn't fly it when there's a bright sun from one direction, and then you probably go that way and then you turn around. The whole image exposure would change that much. Or if you fly against the sun, some areas would be dark. The sky would be completely white. So it's overexposed and one half underexposed. There's no good dynamic range with that cameras, but it's enough for most people, for most videos and for most scenarios. That's what comes with the Defender 25 or with any O3 equipped quad now, BNF if you want. So that were some things I wanted to talk about. And the last one I wrote in my Facebook statement as well was that people, I don't know why everything becomes so toxic nowadays, especially on Facebook or YouTube. It was about, it's a rush product, and just right before Christmas, joining that O3 hype that's still going on every platform and social media. Yes, it was obviously released before Christmas, and it was obviously released to join all that O3, not hype, but that it's a cool thing. It's a new product. Everybody wants to have it. Everybody wants to use it. So we wanted to show, hey, we have something. It's not ready to ship yet. As I said before, I don't have my prototype yet. The hardware is finished, it's designed, but we are now working on the tune. We are now testing if everything works out, if there's something to change. Nothing has been produced in high volumes yet, so if we need to change something, we can still change it. But the product is almost finished. That's why we didn't just ship an unfinished product before Christmas, but we released it before Christmas, then do our work now to, I guess, within a month, I'd say. Now it's a little bit slower because of, I said before, COVID situation. Half of the staff all over China, it doesn't matter what company, is just missing. They're sick and are at home or in a hospital even, worst case. But I hope we can ship within a month, so that my tune will be on there, the GitHub repository presets. I will upload the tune there as well with some descriptions. There probably will be free tunes, because we found that if you want to have one simple tune you can fly every battery with, if it's the iFlight 500 or 900 milliamp battery, or 550 and 900 milliamp battery, one tune for both, for every weight, and one tune for the lighter one tune for the heavier one. And that will also be for example, the 900 milliamp battery tune will be for long flight times, far distance cruising, where the 550, because of the lower weight, would be more for performance. So I will tweak some settings to make sure that there's a difference And if there is no difference, if I can't feel any difference, then I will just make one tune. But I guess it will be 2 or even 3 different settings you could set or try. Sometimes it's about your feeling, stick feel. If you're more happy with tune number 1, then you stick with that one. If you're happy with tune number 3, you can stick with that one. I just want to make it simple. I want to keep it simple for everybody, but with the option to make it complex. And that means you can also satisfy enthusiasts. And so that's what I plan to do, to satisfy the beginner and the beginning, from the unboxing to the flying experience. But also if you feel, okay, I want to tweak something, there will be options that we deliver, that I give you to download and apply on to your quad straight. There were some things I don't want to talk about, the other drama or other stuff that was going on this week about the Defender 25. I thought I need to make a video to explain. In a couple of days, like 5 or 6 days, I hope I get my prototype, and then I will keep you updated and show you some footage. See you next time.